That's the only thing. We need to almost
Absolutely.
slap people in
Yeah.
their faces and be like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yes.
what are you
Yeah.
doing? Hi, guys. Welcome to Candy Unwrapped. Today is a very special show for me. I was doing a reaction video, and at the time that I was doing a reaction video to Blackpink, my cousin sent me a video that's called Why You Will Never Be Pretty.
Barbie's irrelevant. Barbie's dead. But sis, Barbie is bigger than ever.
I immediately opened it. I saw it. I had such a visceral reaction to it that I stopped. And I am so fortunate to have Ibrahim Kamet coming from Australia to the show. And he is the guy who made this video. So I just want to welcome Ibrahim. Yay!
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
I'm so excited.
No, yeah, same.
Just getting right into it. My first question is, how are you so knowledgeable about all the different ethnicities and cultures and the beauty standards for which they are, different wherever you are in the world?
I think that must have came from like growing up in international school and then being around different ethnicities and different people. When it came to making that video itself, I was never like fully educated about it. It was more so, I think it was during a time when I wanted to look into why I was feeling like low about myself, like in terms of body image. And then I looked deep into it, then it made sense. It was just, it was ultimately the beauty standards. And then I guess I researched further and like really deep into the topic. And then I decided to make a video out of it because I was really shocked to find out about all the people that are affected by this, especially like young girls. I think that's how the video really began. And I spent about 2-3 months working on it, and I actually scrapped the video idea because I was so worried that it was too much and it was like a bit triggering for me in a sense. And then I think about half a year later, I went back to the video and I worked back on it. And I'm glad I worked back on it because clearly, it helped a lot of people. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. First of all, it like went viral. I mean, did you ever expect that,
Yeah, no, yeah, no. I definitely created with intent of wanting a lot of people to see it, but never would have imagined it would be at, at the current level that it is right now. It's
In your video, which by the way, you must see it. It is literally, it's a must see. And I think it's a must see for parents with their children, not just parents and children in entertainment, but anyone, because I think if you're alive today, you'll have a connection to it. There will be something that you maybe won't feel so alone in thinking the way you do.
Now that you've pointed that out, sometimes I go back to that video and I quite educated on myself, and I realized that one of the main reasons why I made the video, because I wish I, as a kid or as a teenager who was already going through like body image issues from a young age, wish I had that video and understood why we think that way and all that. So I think it is, that just makes a lot of sense to why it's so important for children and parents to show that video to their kids.
And the conversation, and what I wonder is, are parents or anyone, whether it be teachers or coaches or someone who's looking after kids growing up today, are they being honest with them? Are they really having the talk that we're going to get deeper and deeper into? Did you feel at the time that you made this video that you had no one to talk to?
Oh, yeah, definitely about these issues, because you feel like they're little problems that you just should forget about, when in reality, and then you look at the comments and everyone feels the same, and I'm like, oh wow, you're really not alone, and everyone's like going through the same issues that's just set upon us from these standards and all. So yeah, I definitely felt like it was hard to talk to people about it, and then now it's easier for people to open up, because you see in my comments and like these little kids are opening up, and it's like, it's really inspiring to see how touched they are by it. So yeah.
One of the things that you say is toxic beauty. And I love the word toxic, because I feel that is the perfect word to describe the beauty that we all don't feel adequate enough. What are ways through your making the video and ways through comments that you've gotten that you have found helpful to you and might be helpful to others?
I think one of them that really helped was people said to follow accounts like Instagram or social media where people share the same features as you. And that for me has been life-changing because I've always just, if I were following people, I'd follow like influencers or people who look like who are models. And then when I started following people who share the same features like me and the like same nose or same skin tone, I realized that holy crap, there are people who look like me that are beautiful and not even just necessarily like me, but different ethnicities. So that one has been pretty life-changing instead of just like surrounding myself with picture perfect models and all that. I think another one that has really helped was just talking to yourself like you would to, like your younger self or someone you love. So I find that if I'm talking back to myself in terms of like body image or how I look, I think about whether I would say that to, like my best friend, if I'd say those nasty things, or if I'd say it to like someone like my mom, if I love them. And then I realized like, yeah, that's like really nasty. Those comments I say to myself, like, why would I say that to anyone else? And then I think of myself in this positive way, the way I would see someone I love. I think those would be the main ones that I've seen quite a few people also recommend in the comments. And mainly just learning to appreciate your qualities over how you look. And that has really helped for me. Like there are times where I feel low about myself in terms of how I look. And then I think about how people don't value me because of how I look. They value me because of like who I am as a person. So yeah.
I can identify with that because I never felt good. And I would look in the mirror every single time, and every single time I would say to my mom, I look like shit. And this is 40 some odd years ago. Looking at your video, it really explains how long this has been going on for, and that it's generations upon generations upon generations. I think another thing that you talked about in the video was K-pop and people in the industry becoming anorexic. And I think your video brings up a lot of important facts about how people are feeling today. Can you talk a little bit about the findings that you have found in that particular video or elsewhere that you see why we don't feel so good about ourselves?
For me, yeah, I learned a lot from that video itself. Like from my own video, I remember when I worked on it, was like, I just, as I gathered more information, I'm just like, wow, everything makes so much sense. And especially, for example, like the Barbie doll scene where how the Barbie thingy had like, don't eat. And it was basically encouraging little girls to not eat. Just like those little things that must have been overlooked. Now that I look back at it, like, wow, like just imagine all the little girls or little kids who had those toys and how that little message must have stayed with them for the rest of their lives. Like, who knows?
In 1960, Mattel officially released a Barbie Slumber Party set. This came with a comb, hair roller, sleeping bag. It also came with a scale that was permanently set to 110 pounds, and a book with the title.
There was a lot that I learned about that. And even for me, just understanding in terms of the media standard where it'd be primarily Caucasian features.
I just don't like the way brown looks because the way brown looks really nasty for some reason, but I don't know what reason. That's all.
Just understanding that what you surround yourself with, or whether it's the media and all that, and how that has a big impact on you. I guess, yeah, it was just like being able to understand why we feel really low about ourselves, and how industries like, I guess, the cosmetic industry or the plastic surgery industry and how they do that to you. So especially like K-pop, and how it's very normalized nowadays for people to get plastic surgery and all that. So,
or become anorexic because they're mistreated. And I was anorexic when I was younger. I was a dancer, and back then you didn't even think about it. And I was rehearsing 12 hours a day, dancing, not eating, and that was like good. I was like, that was a very good thing. What blows me away is this was me 40 some odd years ago, and here we are today, and there's social media, which makes it blow up 10 million trillion times more so. How do we solve this problem? And I know it starts with a conversation, but what would you say that we need to be doing actively to be responsible or to try to feel like I want to feel like I'm helping?
I always think of just starting the conversation with my videos and all that, but thinking ahead, I guess, I don't know. Because even for me, I tend to have a lot of conversations with my friends about it, and we're more conscious about it. And when we have our insecurities or our issues about body image, we tend to talk about it and then,
Do you
understand
talk
why.
to your friends about it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
That's great.
they're very nice about it. Yeah. So it's good. Yeah. And I think for me, for me making that video, I probably wouldn't have the comfort of opening up. I feel like I don't have a right answer to it other than just advocating for, I don't know. I'm
Loving
sure.
yourself.
Yeah. I'd say so. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it took years of therapy, and I'm still in therapy, and I'll probably will be in therapy for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
honestly think, my opinion, but it's just my opinion,
Yeah.
that the world would be a better place if everyone was in therapy.
I agree. I agree. Definitely.
I think it's so wonderful that your friends, though, do you feel that they feel the same insecurities
Oh,
you
yeah,
do?
yeah. It's unfortunate, like when you realize how common it is with one another. It's like you would never think about that about your friends, and then they list all the things they dislike about themselves, and you're like, wow, everyone just, it affects everyone so much. So yeah.
And to me, that brings up suicide, which is something
Mhm.
that was brought up also, in your video, just the things that happened and why it's so toxic. I've had friends who have committed suicide, and it's,
Oh, wow, I'm so sorry.
I want to be able to have this conversation and say to people, everyone, it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter where you're from. I think there's an insecurity, and you tell me this because I don't really know the answer because I grew up without social media. Every image that you see, how would you describe that for me? Like, if you said, what is the image and the standard that we're supposed to be as for men and women?
Yeah, there's definitely like a standard on there, I must say. Like, you want to look your best and you gotta have the right poses and all that. Even for me, because lately I've been more active on Instagram for my YouTube channel. Because I know ideally I wouldn't want to be on social media, but because of my YouTube channel, I have to stay active. And so for me, going from not posting anything to being active now, I noticed that I'm becoming more self-conscious about what I post and how I pose. And it's taking a toll on my mental health already. So there is definitely the standard, to post your best pictures and your best life, your highlights. And yeah, in terms of like the standard on there, I think, yeah, being on social media, you want to show this online persona where you have a great life and your highlights. And that's why, everyone's always constantly sharing everything. And I think that we feel so pressured to share everything about our lives, and not just sharing it, but making it picture perfect and seem like we're always looking, stunning, or always having a fun life and always hanging with friends, when it's just not the reality. I must ask, you're in the US, yeah?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I've lived in New York my whole life, and I moved
Wow. Yeah.
to Houston
Wow.
about a year ago.
I'm just curious, like what do you think was it like there? Like, do you find that the beauty, actually, yeah, New York, the beauty standard, I mean, it's like fashion and all that, right? So it must have been very pressuring there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been surrounded, just because I've been in the entertainment
Yeah,
industry.
exactly. Yeah.
One of the jobs I had, and this is another thing that relates back to what you said, how
Mm-hmm.
you talk to yourself. If
Yeah. Yeah.
you're realizing that you're saying something that you wouldn't say to a friend or a parent or someone you love.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for a photographer. His name is Francesco Scavullo.
Mm-hmm.
He's he passed away, was a
Oh,
very,
okay.
very,
Yeah.
very famous photographer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time when models, all of the supermodels, Cindy
Mm-hmm.
Crawford, Naomi Campbell, I mean, I
Yeah.
could go on and on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, I would sit down and I would work. I realized that these girls or guys that would come in are so not the norm. Those are the people that stand out, that are not normal. And the only way that I could kind of get through this, I don't know that I've even ever talked to anyone about this, to be honest with you.
Wow. Okay.
But is saying to myself, I was born to do something different, and they were born to do modeling. I think people, and again, it's celebrating what God has given you.
Yeah. Totally.
That was really hard. And I don't know. I have a problem with social media and really trying to be responsible on my show and trying
Yeah.
to make a difference by saying,
Mm.
please talk, because
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
friends, everyone feels that way. And I wish
Mhm.
we could lift the pressure. But yet here I am with 17 lights all over me. I still feel the pressure, I'm
Mhm.
doing it, but
Yeah.
I know that when it's all the lights are off,
Yeah.
that I'm more
Oh,
important
yeah.
inside.
It's yeah, it really is a process. That there, yeah. I think you're doing a good job though. Like even just reaching out to me and being so touched by that video and doing this, I think you're so ahead already wanting to make a change. And I think that's fantastic. Even though I made that whole video on beauty standards, I still feel pressured. Like nothing has like drastically changed, but I'm still, because it's like just a slow process. And like you said, loving yourself and all that, it's such a journey. It really takes, yeah. And you gotta like push through a lot of doubt and a lot of low moments. So yeah.
And
But like you
have,
said, therapy would with everyone would just help. Yeah.
and I think everyone will learn that everyone is there. One person starts talking and then everyone will be like, oh my God, you feel like that? I do too. Oh my
Mm,
God, you feel
yes,
like
exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
a ripple effect.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah.
What were you hoping for? Were you hoping when you made this video? What were your hopes when you showed it to people?
When I made that video, I felt so much anger in myself because it made me realize, like, how disgusting it is to live in a world where so many people are just affected and pressured by this. And, it gets to the point where it's like suicide and all that. And then it made me reflect on my own self and how it has impacted me so much, and how just having such low self-esteem and bad body image, stops me from doing so many things. And it really upset me. And then that made me put even more and more information into that video to really spread awareness about it. So then my intent, I guess, would definitely be to just really get the message out there and get people shocked but informed and educated about it, and really spread the message. And it successfully did, surprisingly, because the first month I uploaded it was stuck at around 6,000 views to 10,000 views for like a few months. And then I was actually gonna delete the video because I felt embarrassed. I felt like okay, it reached out to people, but like not enough, and I feel like people won't care about it because
6,000 people weren't enough for you?
yeah,
Oh my
like
God, see, that's social media.
exactly.
That's messed
That's
up.
exactly, yeah, it's messed up. Like if you asked me like 10 years ago, like 100 views would be a lot to me. But then because of this standard I set on myself of how like, oh, 6,000, no one cares about it. And I was like, I deleted a few videos on my channel already, and that was gonna be one of them. And then I think it was crazy. Like it picked it up, YouTube algorithm picked it up, I think, and the next thing you know, it reached like 1 million in about a week. So it was just it was crazy, and that definitely changed my whole YouTube career. Like that gave me like 100,000 subscribers. And yeah, to this day it's still growing. It's the video that's still going, and it shocks me. Like I don't think I like truly fathom. I think only until now, until I do this interview, and made me realize like, wow, someone's reaching out, to do a video about, a video I made. And like it's starting to hit me, like, yeah, the impact of this video. It's reached out to many different people. Like even my sister who lives in Saudi Arabia, she had friends sending her the video that they didn't even know
That you
like
did?
that she was my sibling. I was like, wow. And then I had a friend in Australia who's not on social media at all. And then she was like at her friend's house, and then she said that her little cousin was showing her the video. And I was like, wow, that's just gives me chills thinking about how, how many people are getting. Yeah, like actually thinking about it now, it's just crazy. But yeah.
I'm getting emotional just thinking how sad it is that you had 6,000 views and you thought you weren't reaching enough people and you were embarrassed. It's
Yeah.
the amount of people that you've reached out with this amazing video is saving lives. There's no question in my mind that you have saved lives, that you have made people realize their worth or start talking about it with someone. I know that my cousin who sent it to me was a dancer. She's also my age. We grew up in, again, a different time, but it didn't mean that our feelings were any different than they are today. There were no Kardashians. People were still having plastic surgery. People were still having, it was different, but the feelings inside were the same.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And I am so, so grateful. It touched my cousin who researches. If she sends me a video and she says, you must see this, I know that it's so important. And I know that she really looks at things that, and she wouldn't send me something that she herself did not, number one, get so much out of. And she has 2 children.
Wow.
And 2 boys. That's, I guess, what we need to do is keep
Yeah.
talking and keep not being afraid
Yeah.
to feel like we're not good enough, understanding, and I'm getting into this too, right? So now I'm on YouTube and I'm doing this, and now I hear 6,000 and I'm like, oh, that should only happen to me. But then I think it's like then you top yourself and you never want to, it's like, then you got to do better. But then if you've done better on one video and not on another, well, then you delete that.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think you're gorgeous. And I'm not just saying that. I really do. I thought you were gorgeous. I loved, not only was the video so well done, but God, you're funny. I hope this video really takes off and even becomes like a documentary, like a long documentary. I think the world needs it. And when you said before, I don't know if you said shock, or you said something where we need to shock people.
Oh yeah, I think I said shock. Yeah.
And the reality is that's the only thing. We need to almost slap people in their faces and be like, dude, what are you doing? And your video showed the extent of how much people transform to try to fit in when they already do. And also how fashion and beauty changes. It's cyclical, right?
Yeah.
Like it was great to be in the model days. That was like, the skinnier you were, the heroin chic. Do you think that it's getting better?
I think yes and no. Like my friend pointed out that we are definitely getting more, we're embracing our natural selves now. There's more movements on that. And I think even like just yesterday, because I'm working on a new video on cosmetic surgery, and I like there were movements about, appreciating saggy boobs and all that, like, and then I'm seeing all these movements. So we are definitely entering an era of like embracing and accepting natural beauty. But of course, I think there's also still that pressure for women, I'd imagine, to fit what the standard is, like that hourglass Kim Kardashian and that type of ideal. So I wouldn't have like a certain answer to it, but I think there's definitely movement to embracing our natural selves while still combating, toxic ideal, I guess.
It's interesting to me because I never would have thought in a million years that you had any insecurities, that the things that are coming out of your mouth after watching the video. I would never, ever imagine that. I was like, he knows who he is. He loves who he is. He's proud of who he is. And it's like, truly.
Wow,
and
that's so weird. Wow. It's weird that I have to say it's weird. Sorry, you're saying?
No, I'm finding this whole conversation really fascinating because it's not what I expected. I didn't expect you to feel the way you're feeling. And even you said before, you touched on it's starting, the comments and things and everything, it's starting to affect your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Expand on that. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think because I grew up, I think it was I was never too insecure growing up, but then I think as I entered like teenage years and like, your usual teenage years where you feel pressured or you're watching like these movies and like everyone's falling in love, and it started to affect me when I was watching like a lot of like rom-com movies, and like I remember looking at people like Channing Tatum and having these like perfect bodies.
Don't worry about it.
Nice to meet you, John.
Nice to meet you too. Y'all have a good night.
Incredible. It's a good idea.
Okay, well, we can start with no fighting. No.
And I felt like, okay, I needed to look like that. And then it would just be like, it would start off with like exercising and then eating healthier and then going back to a healthy lifestyle and then back and forth. And then I got more like severe when I moved here, and as I grew and felt more unsatisfied with myself, and then like I would have lower and lower self-esteem, and then I would starve myself or like binge eat and then like purge and just try everything to like lose weight. And then when I lose weight, I wouldn't be satisfied, and then it's just, and then I realized like, whoa, it's like I'm not the only one. It's like what people will try to do to fit into like a standard. So
I feel like your video is exactly how I felt, how I feel, what I know, what I've been through just in the industry. I was absolutely on a mission to meet you and interview you. And when you said okay, I cried.
oh wow. Wow.
Because it's hard to see a lot of things that we're seeing today, and to know that so many years go by and it's the same thing where, the anorexia is real with guys and girls, the pressure, and then the drugs are there to try to escape the reality of what they're dealing with.
Yes, yes,
Some
yeah.
people don't use drugs, some people do other things, and it is all so absurd to just not realize, why can't we look like what we look like? I don't know. It's really, I'm just feeling very, just so connected to you, what you did. I truly hope that the amount of people that viewed that video is enormous.
I feel like this is such a therapy session with everything you've said, which I really do appreciate, because I don't get much like outlook from other people. Like, and the way you said all that, it sounds like everything I needed to hear. And yeah, so I really do appreciate that. And it's like, yeah, it helps me to accept myself more for what I've done and what I do and who I am. Thank you for that.
Oh my God. I think you can change. I think you already have changed the world. I think what's new for me, and maybe because I grew up without any of this, it's easy for me to not care what people say if it's negative, because I'm just like, whatever. Like, I don't, like, I do what I do because I love doing this. I truly think that the reason I do it is because I have fun, and I was depressed, and I was stuck at home during COVID, going out of my mind, not knowing what to do. And I've been in entertainment, and I was like, I need to do this. I did it for my depression because I needed to find a way to get up, get dressed, have something to do. How can we win when we do things to help ourselves, but then it's self-sabotage when we don't have enough numbers? We don't have enough numbers. We need to almost stop that and either say, I'm going to do this, and know if you get one nice comment, that's you've accomplished what you've done. And in fact, you don't need any comments. Do you like it?
Exactly.
Is it important to you? You say the unrealistic toxic beauty standards are deadly.
Yeah, it's a bold title.
True.
Yeah, I think I changed it. Initially, it was something else, and then that's when it was like, that when it was like the 6,000 views, I was like, okay, maybe I need to shock people more. And I did have to think about that title, because I knew that that's a bold title, and then I chose that. But I mean, even choosing that title for me, I realized it's sadly not dramatic. It is quite literal. Even choosing that title for me, I realized it's sadly not dramatic. It is quite literal because of like the mental health, the impacts it has on people, and the suicide, and I guess, yeah, and that's when I realized, like, yeah, that title sadly isn't clickbait.
You blow me away. And I hope that you understand what you've accomplished. This is probably the biggest honor I've had yet. This video changed the way I'm going to move forward and talk to people. That's because of what you did. I just want you to know the value of how much you've made a difference.
Wow. I thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate that. Because I work at home alone, with YouTube full time now. I don't interact with a lot of people other than friends. So I think And reading a comment is common, but having you in front of me like say all that is, it's just so humane. I know, I forget it's not just a comment on a YouTube video anymore. It's like a literal human being behind that that's like touched by that. So it's crazy like how to be able to have a platform and make a video and then just, it can be life changing. So I'm just so glad that you reached out, because there's so much from this interview itself that I'm learning about myself that I never really got to understand. And even just this interview is making me understand my worth. Like, yeah, just just understanding my worth. And yeah, it almost feels like a therapy session, but thank you. No, honestly. And just this whole interview, even for you reaching out to me, like I don't do this type of, I always try to turn things down just because I feel awkward about things. So even this interview, I was very nervous, but I'm very glad that we went through with this, and I'm really glad it happened.
Thank you. Thank you. You have such a beautiful smile and a beautiful face. I want to see it.
Thank you. Yes,
And
definitely.
I also, if there's ever anything that I want to be a part of making this world understand that everyone is exceptional and everyone is beautiful. Whatever they see is smoke and mirrors. It's not the truth. I want to keep supporting what you're doing, because I just know for myself, it's just needed. We need it. Like I said, when I saw the video, I really had such a visceral reaction because I was doing a reaction video to Blackpink, which is K-pop. And I just watched this whole thing and I was like, holy shit, we are all still going through it.
Yeah,
I'm 51 still dealing with it. So thank you so much. You have been the best. And if I was there, I would give you a hug, and you would not, I would be holding on to you for hours. You'd be like, enough.
Yeah, no, hopefully one day, I mean, post COVID, we'll make it happen. I'm sure we'd have to collaborate face to face. We'd have to make it happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please, guys, if you see this video and you too are seeing that you have the same kind of feelings that you're ashamed to talk about, or you don't know how to talk about it, maybe you can talk to me in the comments below or talk to Ibrahim. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. I think this is a super, super important issue. I will see you guys soon. I love you all so deeply.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I had a fantastic time. We are definitely going to collaborate again, because I loved your energy and I love this. It's definitely going to happen.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So thank you.
Change the world.
Absolutely. And I could hear your genuine concern for wanting to change and wanting the world and wanting to be a part of this whole movement of appreciating ourselves and all that. So
thank you for doing this, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
I will now. After this interview, I definitely will now.